Hello, and welcome to segment 8 of Numinous Wind. My name is Brother John. Today, we are going to be talking about um, how religion came to us. And before I got on this morning, I was kind of thinking about the last discussion that we had. I believe we talked about prayer. And I was talking about how prayer works uh, with cause and effect. And we will be getting on with the how religion came to us in a minute, but I want to add one more thing onto the tail end of my uh, talk on prayer. Um, the way that this whole thing came to me was a little bit different than the way a lot of these things come to me. As I've mentioned before, much of it is through intuition, uh, which comes through meditation, contemplative thinking. I shouldn't say contemplative thinking, contemplative lifestyle, um, meaning that I am always looking for a place to be quiet. The woods, the ocean, um, my library here. Uh, I treasure solitude. There's a whole topic right there. Many of us, I dare say, probably millions. I'm probably shortcutting you. Probably more realistically, several billion of us cannot handle silence. Got to have something going on. You'll go crazy if you don't have something to fill the silence. And I have learned over a long period of time how precious and beautiful silence is. Not just the silence around me, but the silence within me. And this is why I'm here. I hope and I aspire to wake you up to that silence. Um, I said I was going to make a comment, a real quick comment about, or as sort of a tail end caboose piece, you might say, to my little thing on prayer. I'd like to say that the way this came to me was back in, when was that? I don't even remember what year it was now, but it was several years ago. It was like maybe 5, 6 years ago when we had all these big fires going on here in California. And I believe the name of this fire was called the Tubbs Fire. It was out in the middle of the state someplace where there was lots of trees and whatnot. And I remember I remember when these fires were going on. And you know, I'm watching it from a subjective point of view, and I'm thinking, man, that is horrible. These fires are just going through here, and I'm thinking, surely there's some people praying for, you know, these people that are within these fires and so on and so forth, right? And as it would happen, probably I don't remember exactly how this happened. I wrote about this in my journal, and I did a blog on it. Um, days before it had happened. But basically, what had happened was this. I was following this thing relatively closely, and I don't remember exactly how the whole thing panned out, but it basically went something like this: that it was fire for days, and homes were burning, and people were evacuating, and all this stuff was going on, right? And then when the whole thing was finally done, the last spark died down. There was a rainstorm. What? A rainstorm? After the fact. After the fact. This is like the day after. Hello? I'm like, oh crap, figure that one out, right? I'm thinking, okay, you know, maybe there's some people out there, brothers and sisters that are thinking, well, there you go, there's the wrath of God. You know, I'm not that stupid. And from that point on, I started to watch for some clues in various places, in the paper, on the internet. And somewhere, I don't remember exactly where, but I ran across an article about a couple that lived in that area. Can't remember their name. It was an elderly couple. If I think long enough, the name will come to me. But it was an elderly couple, and somebody was talking about this couple, how they had perished in the fire. And they were talking about how they were loyal to the church and they were always there to help other people. They would go out of their way. They would offer their help in any possible way that they could to neighbors and fellow church members and so on and so forth. And the article was talking about, oh, how they're so missed, and it's just too bad that the fire took them. Excuse me. If you're going to try to tell me that those two elderly people, that couple, didn't pray while the fire was going on, you are sorely mistaken. What is my point? Put it all together. Here you've got this fire tearing up the area. I mean, just it's messing everything up. It's putting people out of their homes. It's putting people out of their jobs. It's just total havoc. And here's this little elderly couple. Probably, I don't know if they decided to stay or whether they were trying to get out or whatever, but surely, I promise you, surely they and probably several others prayed for the Lord. I'm not even sure how to finish that sentence. Prayed for the Lord to, I don't know, prayed for the families, the victims, the firefighters. And then once the fire was put out, it began to rain. And it rained hard on that little town. I don't know about you, but that disturbs me. Maybe it's because my antenna was up and I just happened to run across this article that I just kind of put it all together. And maybe those that might have known this elderly couple, maybe they put it all together. And maybe there's a few others here and there that have put it all together. What do you do with that? Here's these loving people praying to the Lord. I can imagine the prayers were probably something like, you know, protect the families, protect the firefighters, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And maybe some of them might even said, Lord, let your will be done. I'm okay with all of that. Like I said, I don't have a problem with prayer. That's not really the point. The point is, once the flames went out, it rained. Okay, why didn't it rain the day before, or 2 days before, or 5 days before, or, right? No, it rained right after the fire was put out. Now, this is where somebody like myself would ask the obvious question. What's going on? What happened? I thought you guys were saying prayers, right? And somebody's going to say, happens every time. Well, I don't know what happened. When this is all over, God will figure it out in the end. My position on that, and it will always be, that is a cop out. That is a cop out. We have rights with our questions, our thoughts, our philosophies, our reasoning abilities. Not only do I want to know what happened back there, why did that happen the way that it did? Why did the rain fall right after the last spark went out? Okay, well, I was kind of hoping I was kind of hoping to have some more time here to go into our next topic, but how we doing on our time here? Jeez. Hmm. Hmm. Oh well. Um, let's finish this up. As I said before, the way prayer works is not that we call on God for God to do something, and then we hope that He does it. It's just a matter of hours, days, maybe months. Let His will be done. And then when He answers the prayer, we say, woohoo! Oh, Lord, thank you so much, right? Or when He doesn't answer the prayer, we say, well, let the Lord's will be done. He knows what He's doing. But I'm going to say it again. We forget the obvious. We forget cause and effect. Prayer does not negate cause and effect. Let me take this a step further. If I haven't made a dent yet, let me put it to you this way. Even when you say your prayer, your body itself is subject to cause and effect. Everything that your body is doing down to the microspeck, the nano subatomic particle is subject to cause and effect. The next thing that comes out of my mouth today is subject to cause and effect. The words that I choose are subject to cause and effect. Cause and effect works from the tiniest of tiny all the way up to the vastest of vast. And it all works together. Again, I mentioned this in my last video, and I was not planning on taking out the whole 30 minutes talking about prayer again, but I know, trust me, I know. I've already been there. I know. I was there a long, long time. And I know how hard-headed we can be. So I think there is a place for a second segment on this business of prayer. I'm going to say it again. I'm not saying that I'm against prayer. I'm not saying that at all. I pray. I also meditate. And we're going to be talking quite a bit about meditation as we go. I do pray, though. My prayers are very simple. I keep them simple, very simple, because I know how the system works. When we say, Lord, let your will be done, we have to realize that when we say that, we are allowing God within cause and effect to happen. Now, somebody's going to argue, guaranteed. Somebody's going to say, whoa, 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 wait, hold on for a second. Wait, hold on. God created cause and effect, so therefore God is above cause and effect. Whenever you say the words above, below, left, right, anything like that, what you're doing is you are separating two things. You say, this is cause and effect, and this is God, and God is above cause and effect. Excuse me, you've just limited God. I generally don't use the word God for exactly this reason. Because for some reason, over the last 2,000 years and beyond, way beyond, humanity has kind of duped himself into believing that God can somehow be measured and described, that God has shape, dimension, and so on. I think we've already been through this. What you're calling God does not have dimension. God, if you want to call it that, does not have dimension. He, she, it, I'm going to catch some flack for that, pervades everything. This cup, ceramic, made from the mud of the ground, was shape-shifted into what you see, a cup. God pervades the cup. God pervades this room. Me, the library behind me. Everything that you can imagine, from the micro to the macro, on every level, as far as you can conceive, into the universe. There is no way to measure this. We try to measure this by the words that we use, such as God is above cause and effect. You've just limited God. We don't use terms like this. Somebody will say, well, that's pantheism. You can call it whatever you like. What I'm asking for is for you to think about it. We shun things like pantheism here in the West. Why? Because the church forbids it. And that is the only reason why we shun it. But when you start to employ your reasoning abilities and you ask yourself these questions, if God is not all in all, doesn't that put some kind of limitations, boundaries upon him? Even when you say the word him, you imply boundaries. In a study of higher theology, you will discover a word called ineffability. This is a reminder. You have 5 minutes remaining. Ineffability dares to allow. This is a reminder. You have 5 minutes remaining. God to not be known. Many people have a problem with this. They talk about knowing the Lord, experiencing the Lord, praying to the Lord, hearing from the Lord, and the list goes on. I generally use the word divine. It's basically saying the same thing, but I try real hard not to imply any kind of parameters by such other words as him or her or it or such terminology as uh, thrones or horses or golden streets or whatever. I'll probably catch a bunch of flack for that too. I'm okay with that. As I said before, I come from a very thick background, 24 years in the evangelical church, and I had a eye-opening, awakening experience in 2008, and I've never been the same. I am out of time for today, but I just want you to think about the things that I've said. Um, as I'm here in YouTube, Facebook, I notice some people out there that know who I am. Friends, family, professors from college. I want to say hello to all of you. and that I recognize you, and I hope you recognize me. Um, but I will render no apologies. God, the divine, has shaped me into what I am, and I would change it for nothing. Until the next time, pick up a book and study deeper, and test what I say. Check it out for yourself. Until the next segment, have a nice day.